What's happening, guys? I'm Kobe Chow here with Craig McCoy, and welcome to our latest Tuesday training, where every week we bring to you a live training from lead gen and AI all the way to business planning and goal setting.
You have the new version and the old version. We collaborate to make it awesome.
If you want to join and jump on the next Tuesday training, join our school platform below. It's completely free. Click the link below, and we'll see you there.
We have 7 people in this room, so it's not going to look like a lot on Zoom, but we are all here.
So while we're getting started, let's go ahead and talk about some wins and some losses and struggles and who's doing what's working, what's not.
Hey, Craig, you're a little faint again, Craig. You might want to get closer to the computer.
Ow. Saying wins and losses and struggles and who's doing what's working, what's not. Anybody?
Okay, I'd like to start off really positive with a win. However, I am going to tell you about an experience that has not happened to me. A neighbor across the street is an agent, and she was saying that she wanted me to co-list a property with her. So I've been working with her since September via text, and I told her she really wanted her name in the MLS. So I said, fine, I'll just put my lockbox on. I will meet the stager. I will meet the photographer. You can go ahead and give me a referral fee. Back and forth. I even helped her with the HOA by putting in some documents for her. She didn't respond a lot. It was really strange for an agent. Make a long story short, the next thing I know, I see a stager with another agent. What the F?
What the F?
What the F?
F. Capital.
Capital WTF. Really, 23 years doing this, and another agent has not screwed me that way. Other ways, sure, but not like that. Seriously. Seriously, since September, I've been communicating with this woman. Slacker. Anyways, it was a learned lesson by myself. No good deed goes unpunished. I'm still a kind, good person. I'm still going to help people out. However, it was a learning lesson. I called up the agent who is listing it, and I actually know the agent. Her name is Gretchen. I was like, Gretchen, I just want to let you know what you're dealing with. And I've been talking to this woman, this other agent, since September. And she said, yeah, it's kind of strange. She never really texts back or emails back or calls back, even though she's an agent. So I don't know what to say, but it was a learned lesson.
Did she ever respond like you were talked to?
No, I wrote her a nice professional email saying this has never happened to me. And she did not respond back. So that is my loss, but there'll be many, many more wins. You know, I don't want to diss Karens. There might be people with the name Karen. That's kind of,
It's a joke.
I know that, but
Karens and
no, her name was Craig. Her name was Craig. All right, anybody else has wins or losses?
Sure.
Come over here.
Okay.
Hop on.
To everyone who's bids.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, good morning. I have my first listing appointment after having my license for about 8 months. So I have my first listing appointment on Thursday. I'm very excited about it. And I have all of these guys helping me prep for that today. So yeah.
Is it cold? You should be like a brand new person or
Brand new person, never met him.
Oh shit. Oh.
Well, it was a referral though.
Yeah.
So warm.
Talk about Breezy on this.
Oh, I discovered an app recently. It's called Breezy, Breezy, and it is a much friendlier way to comp out properties. So you just put in the subject property address into the app, and it will give you all the filters to go through: bed, bath, square footage, radius, and it will pull amazing properties for you to use. And it will also develop a report for you that you can download and share with your clients. So I just discovered this recently and I've been playing around with it a little bit, but yeah, the app is called.
Have all the people sign up for it.
Yes, hopefully.
Does it cost?
No, it is free, which is also great. It's called Breezy and it's for agents by agents. So yeah, I wanted to share that. And that's all I got.
For agents by agents. That's a nice tagline. For
Yeah.
agents by agents.
Did you just make that? That was the nice tagline.
No, I don't think so. I think that's what it said.
Is it better than our friend chat?
Is it what?
Is it better than our friend chat?
It is better than our friend chat,
They probably had access.
respectfully. Much friendlier than the MLS.
Oh.
Not that that would be that hard to do. Okay, that's all I got for you.
Run it, Toby.
Sweet. Bill, Tim, you guys want to jump into a mortgage?
Kind of boring, but I guess I'll jump in on my stuff. So I'll make it exciting. Well, rates are looking a little better, a little more exciting. They're hopefully moving our direction this week more than ever. Last week was kind of crappy, and Monday wasn't good yesterday, but today, supposedly we have a reachable deal within a week, according to our president. We'll see what happens, and hopefully that will open the Strait of Hormuz and get a ceasefire. Oil's down right now, and our 10-year yield's down to about 4.5. I'm sorry, about 4.4. So it's kind of helping mortgage rates right now. There's some crap yesterday with Lebanon and Israel that was kind of hurting stuff, but that seems to have mostly faded. So the real kind of key right now is we have to have ships, that's ships with a P, need to start moving through the Strait of Hormuz. And when that happens, that hopefully is a good move and meaningfully lower feeling for mortgage rates. Jobs openings this week, there's some big headline numbers, kind of beat expectations, but hopefully that's nothing that's going to scare us to like raise rates as far as the Fed goes. One thing that's going to help, I think, going forward, our new Fed chairman, Kevin Warsh, the way he's going to measure inflation, instead of doing what's called core PCE, he's going to use something called the Dallas Fed trimmed mean, which simply means it kind of filters out distortions from tariffs, oil shocks, and geopolitical events. So he's going to try to get more to a 2.3 mark measurement as opposed to we're at 3.3 based on the old measurement. And 2% is kind of like the Fed's target. So if that happens and he uses that approach, we actually could see rate cuts as opposed to a rate hike, assuming he does that. That's not guaranteed, but that will make it a lot easier for a better rate environment. So we'll see what the future holds. Regards to rates right now, 30-year fix, no point loan, conventional is about 6.5% and no points. 6.25, about a point cost for conventional. Moving over to government, a no point loan is about 5.99%. And at about a point cost, we're at 5.65%. So hopefully we get things moving. June, if everything keeps closed down in the Strait of Hormuz and oil prices, we're going to see a big hurt on oil prices. So cross our fingers, we get some cooperation and they get some agreement because if June we're still at where we are now, that's bad news for mortgage rates and probably bad news for oil prices. So hopefully everything gets worked out. And that's all I got. Questions, concerns?
Any questions for Tim? Hey, Tim.
Hey.
You just do such a good job kind of running through everything.
So if you guys want something in the future, honestly, if there's
Question?
things you guys want to know about or not know about, just give me a screen, give a shout, give a text. I can throw stuff in there that anybody's curious about other than the stuff that
I have a quick
actually,
question.
reporting on.
Tim,
Oh no. Yes.
quick question would be, are you getting less loan applications? Are you getting the same amount of loan applications, more than maybe this time last year, or even 3 months ago or 6 months ago? What's your pipeline like?
On the link side, kind of about the same. I do a lot more support right now with some agents as far as like Vicky from Georgia. As far as me, Bill might be able to answer better than me because he works directly a little more with agents as far as referrals and so forth. Me and my personal side outside of Link, I'm here in Las Vegas, so I'm getting a little more traction here. I'm aligning myself with some agents in Las Vegas just through my own kind of networking and things that I do. So that's slowly coming along better than not, but I have not been actively going after stuff until about the last 7, 8 months. And just a little bit of my efforts is filling up my pipeline a little bit more. I could always welcome more, and of course Bill can too, or Eddie and anybody else there. But hopefully I'll see more on the refi side as well. As soon as rates come down, that's a big part of my focus because I can usually churn and burn refi stuff pretty good, and that's been a big part of my business over the years.
Well, maybe your buddy will answer that question.
Yeah, Bill, are you still seeing a lot of refis come in? I feel like we went for like a 1-2 month kind of run at the beginning of this year where a lot of people started refiing. At least escrow had a whole bunch of refis, and it seems like that kind of dried up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, rates go up, refinances go away, but what I have been getting are second mortgages. So I've done a handful of those in the past few months, which is not something I've ever really done much of in the past. But people pulling out cash to buy other homes is one. I'm going to tell you a story about that in a minute here. I mean, as far as the pipeline goes, it's pretty steady. I guess some of these seconds are filling in for maybe a little bit less purchase business, but we still have people out there. I mean, I still here in LA, I still have people getting outbid. I've got a few clients who have just been every week they're putting in an offer, and of course they're pretty price sensitive, so they're not battling it out, and they really don't want to pay too much for anything. But yeah, I mean it's we're still moving along, so that's good. I will say that the underwriting I feel like has tightened up a little bit. I'm getting a little bit more pushback on some of my deals. So um, maybe it's just the clients, maybe it's because the rates are higher and the debt ratios are tighter. I can't really tell you exactly what it's been, but it just feels like it's been a little more challenging pushing things through than it normally is. But there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about in terms of lending. So first, we were talking about wins, losses. So I have this deal, and my clients were taking a second mortgage to buy an investment property. It's going to be a home for their daughter. So, pretty cool. It's like a 2-unit property. They're putting the daughter and her fiance are going to live in one, and then the second unit will be rented. And very nice parents. They make a lot of money, so they're helping out their kid. But and they're very high earners. The whole thing has just been a challenge. So finally they decide, all right, we're going to pull some equity from our house for the down payment for this new place in order to make sure that we can push it through. I had a home equity line of credit. It went all the way to the end. And at the very end of the process, I get a call from the underwriter, and she's like, I'm really sorry. I missed this issue in the very beginning. We should have caught it, but we didn't. And now I can't close your loan. So we had to scramble. Yeah, right. It's like, so on the purchase, they have inspections tomorrow. They have the appraisal, all these things that they're going to have to pay for if we're going to proceed. So I get that call like 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. so I'm calling every lender under the sun that I can find, trying to get somebody who will do the second mortgage. And there's a unique situation there. So I finally found somebody, but it's like, I found a couple options. One of them had a super high interest rate. The other one, they're only going to lend them about, they were trying to borrow $300,000. They're only going to lend them two. So, I had to go back to them and say, hey, look, this is what we got. They're like, we're not going to take the higher rate. But they talked it over, and they're like, all right, I think we can dip into our savings, investments, whatever, and we'll take on the extra $100,000, to close the deal. So the point being, if you think you might think there's a huge problem, and it's not. Obviously, it's not ideal, but the deal's still alive. We're still going, and I was not expecting that. So stay positive. You never know how it's going to shake out. But yeah, it was a stressful Friday, Saturday.
Are we allowed to ask what type of things pop up that put it into, oh, we missed this,
Sure.
you had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
dental bill from 1954. What are these things you're talking about?
No, so what they missed was that their first mortgage on the primary residence that we were taking the HELOC on is a interest only loan. I refinanced them into this interest only loan 6 months ago, and so the HELOC lender is like, oh, we won't do a HELOC behind an interest only loan. And that's something like the underwriter had that mortgage statement showing that it was interest only from the submission, so it wasn't until they did their final review that the senior underwriter caught it. So that's what it was. And the other unique thing is that they work for Cedars-Sinai, and they have like a second mortgage from their employer. It's a forgivable second loan. That the guy was like a incentive to come work for them. And so Cedars is willing to move that loan into the third position and allow a second mortgage behind it because they have enough equity in their house. But in the world of second mortgages, most of them will not allow a third loan behind it. So, I mean, I must have called 25 lenders, trying to figure out somebody who could do this. And so yeah, I managed to find two.
Hiring anyone without working more hours.
Bill, I have a quick question for you. It's a little bit unrelated, but I wanted to make sure I asked you while you had the floor.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I got a call from an appraiser. Kobe and I are in escrow on a property,
as the listing agents. This has never happened to me in like 5 or 6 years. We've listed a handful of properties. I got a call from, or I guess like a representative of the lender. It wasn't even the appraiser. And he was kind of peppering me with questions about this property. It's a multifamily property. He was asking me like why it had been on the market for so long, what my opinion was on whether or not it was discounted or if they were paying a premium or if it was at market. He was just like honestly going hard at me with questions about why they're paying this price and what I thought of this price. And that's never happened to me before. It wasn't just like the standard calling a listing agent to set up an appraisal or anything like that. Have you seen that before? And why do, I guess, like lender representatives do that? Question the listing agent on whether the buyer is paying a premium or not.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever have you ever encountered that, Tim?
No, I was going to say that's really, really suspect and weird. Was he from the appraisal management company, or did the person say they're actually from the lender?
I kept asking like I've never had this before, who do you work with? Like
Yeah.
where are these questions coming from? He just said I work directly with the lender. I'm here to like facilitate this appraisal. We just want to ask some questions and kind of like get your opinion on this transaction. And I was like,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, I
That's
never
mean,
heard
it,
of
it
that.
is being a like a commercial multifamily. That world is a little bit different. So it was probably their kind of internal person who their internal check on the appraisal. I would imagine the person who reviews the appraisal and goes over it. So that's probably what it was, and
Were
it's
they
probably
local
probably
to
because
the?
it was a commercial deal that's the case. But that is pretty weird though.
Since when though does the listing agent's opinion matter on the
yeah,
appraisal?
that's and
Maybe it was a
only time you
Yeah.
get that is Michael spent something on VA loans.
comes
If it's called Tidewater, they'll call them that and ask for more comps, but not on a commercial deal like that or a non-QM deal. That's pretty strange unless you're trying to rebut the appraisal. But if it's just the appraisal's in and reviewing, I've never ever heard that ever happening before. An agent ever got a call on like that, other than a VA loan asking for more comps or support.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also had something happen this past week I've never had happen. I sold a condo a couple years ago, and at the time I was the listing agent, and we were not priced that much lower than the other condos in the community. And I had the clerk of courts of the property appraiser call me and ask why we sold so much lower than the other properties there. And he said, well, can you justify the reason? And I just said, well, he's like, well, was it a fire sale? Was it an estate sale? He starts saying things. I said, well, she had another property up north and, they just wanted to basically get rid of it, like as quick as she could. But again, at the time, it wasn't listed that much lower than the other properties. So I've never had that happen. And I was wondering the same thing, like, since when does a listing agent's opinion matter? And I've never been questioned on selling a property by the clerk of courts.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder if they're going after things to see if the transactions are arm's length or not, which means,
Right.
is it truly a third party buyer, or is it some, is there collusion? Maybe that's what they're after. I don't know.
It's
It's
Our situation is interesting because we've closed with this buyer before. It's part of that portfolio, like 6 other buildings. They've bought one. They've used the same lender. They've gotten that appraised. There's been no issues, and they're non-contingent in this deal. But I'm getting calls from like representatives, kind of just like questioning what my thoughts are on the value that they're getting. It's just I've never had that happen. It seemed a little bit sketchy to me, like they weren't able to kind of like directly explain who they were and why they were doing it. I asked them too. They're just like, oh, it's just for our file. We just wanted to see what your opinion was.
I think next time I ask them to email you. You know what? I'm sorry. Why don't you email me your questions so I know who what your concerns are. I'd get an email in writing. That's what I would do. Not that you need to reply back on an email, but I would ask them just to email you so you know who it's coming from and why they're calling. In the event that's something weird, someone coming in as like a spy call or something weird, like I don't know. That's what I would do. Document it because that's an odd one. But if your radar is up and it's weird, something is funky there. I think unless it's really just a weird call, I would document it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
should have done that. I guess the question is there any like information that you could give out as a listing agent to either an appraiser or a lender rep that is like too sensitive for them to know? Like what could they be fishing for that could impact a deal in those situations?
I'd be very as vague as possible. In your case, I would just say the number's penciled out for the buyer. You know, that's just I wouldn't give them too much. As little as possible. You know, you don't need to anything. If you say anything specific that they can come back and say, well, we disagree with this, then you might be setting yourself up for some sort of an issue. But you know, if it's the buyer wanted the property, right? My seller wanted to sell the property. This is the only offer we had on the property. You know, like she was ready to go. You know, so you know what I mean. Like it's but I would be vague and direct.
Oh, sorry. I just remembered too, they were asking me how many offers did you receive? What were the ranges of the other offers? What was the highest offer you got? Why did you accept one at 1425 when you got an offer at 165? So I got all this questioning just in terms of like other things that are totally unrelated to the transaction at hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I mean,
did.
another thing you could
Because I thought
say
it
is
kind of
just,
supported. I was like, hey, we had offers at 165. We were focusing our attention on other properties. It was a portfolio sale. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. Like portfolio sale. So you're focusing on the ones that were moving the quickest. And then I was like, yeah, the market changed. This was a price that worked for both sides. Like I
is
was
this one of the
vague with
ones, is this one of the ones that had already fallen out as well? The Koreatown one, or where you'd
it.
had a,
This one has not fallen out, but we've gotten plenty of offers on it that didn't move forward because of the condition. So yeah, I could see how, you know, they might want to know if there's any deferred maintenance or something like that. But I was very vague about that, like, you know, none to our knowledge, that kind of thing. But
yeah.
yeah, it was just strange. I've never had that kind of interaction before.
Yeah. Interesting. Um, well, I wouldn't give away too much. And Tim's got the right idea. Get something in writing. Make sure you're dealing with somebody who's actually coming, you know, who is who they say they are. And then also like, I mean, especially on the condo situation, it'd be like, you know, this is the offer my buyer selected. I presented everything available, you know. I'm not them. I can't tell you their motivation, you know. It's not for you to say. Just like you said, like why does the listing agent's opinion matter? It doesn't really, you know. Like I did my duty. I presented all offers. I marketed the property. This is what we got, you know. So
That's a good response. Look up their number on public record and call them if you have any questions about it.
yeah. I was going to just talk one more thing about loans. One thing that I've had a lot of sellers recently asking me for DU approvals or automated underwriting approvals. Do you guys know what that is? I know a lot of sometimes I'm talking with agents and they're not sure what that is, or
EJ doesn't know what it is.
They don't understand how it works. So with a conventional loan or a government loan, the way that underwriting works is that we bring in the application information from the client. We review their income documents, their assets, all that stuff, and then we put it together in the loan file and then run that file through an automated underwriting system. So DU is Fannie Mae's automated system, and then there is LP, which is Freddie Mac, and then FHA uses this, and VA has their own version. But what that means is that the first step is to run their information through that system. We do need a credit report to do that, and that will tell us if we're approved, right? And then the file goes into the underwriter, and the underwriter is verifying all of the information that we've put into the file. So making sure that we've correctly calculated their income, their assets, that we're not, you know, that there's nothing else that's being missed. So you might have, if you have a buyer, you might have a listing agent say, do they have a DU approval? That's what they're referring to, is that initial run. And you know, I've been guilty of making some assumptions sometimes, because when somebody has really good credit, there's a debt to income ratio that usually works. And recently I've had a couple where they didn't come out the way that I was expecting them to. So it's one of those things that I'm going to try and make a regular practice, is to have a DU approval for pretty much everybody who comes in at least at the time that they're ready to make an offer. You know, if their situation is questionable, if their credit scores aren't great, or they have a lot of debt, or they're uncertain, you know, it's good to get that out of the way early. it does require a full credit report. So that's kind of the hesitation for some people if they're just sort of barely looking. Um, but I just wanted to let just explain that a little bit so you have a feel for how the underwriting process works. And if you get that request, you're not thrown off. You know, if you need it and the client is questionable and we don't have I had one yesterday and, didn't have all of the appropriate income documentation, but so, I used what I had and plugged those numbers in and, but it's still not a guaranteed approval because I didn't have all the income information, so it could come back and we get a pay stub that's lower than expected, and it luckily the pay stub came back later in the day and it was higher than expected. So, but there are times when you're talking about pre-approvals where we are we're making if the idea is to get the offer in right away and get a negotiation going and get into escrow, we can make some assumptions and try to get it in, but it's something we'll always let you know. But also if you're a listing agent, just understand that a pre-approval letter doesn't necessarily mean anything. So it's very easy for us to write that up. It's not something that we're really held accountable to. So yeah, just a little bit on the lending side that you might not know, and if you have questions about that, please feel free to ask.
Is there anything listing agents can be doing to not like micromanage a lender? Me and Andrew had a deal in Malibu one time that the lady was pre-approved. She was buying it for 225, was coming in with like 1.5 or 1.6 cash. We get into escrow 2.5 weeks in, the lender's like, oh shit, I did not include HOA docs or I didn't include HOA fees. And now her DTI is messed up and she can't buy it. Like, is there anything we can be doing or agents can be doing to like confirm that without coming across like an asshole to the loan officer? Like, hey, did you include HOA fees in your DTI ratio?
Yeah, I mean, you could ask them, at least if it's a conventional loan, you can ask them for their DU approval. I mean, usually when I send it out, I just send out the first page because there is some somewhat personal stuff in there, not social security numbers or anything, but how much debt they have. But you can ask them for the full DU approval, and I'm sure I'm happy to look at it. I know Tim would be happy to look at it too. We can kind of get a review. One thing that's a key on there is to look at the debt to income ratio. If it's approaching 50%, like 45 to 50%, that means that they're kind of tight. And a little thing like that, like not having the HOAs, can blow up the deal.
You can also ask them for their payment calculation. If it's going to be a conventional loan and we have a DU approved LP, it'll have that payment in there. Obviously, if it's not a loan that uses that, you can maybe just find out, the terms of the loan, and somehow you can kind of circumvent and figure out what their full principal, interest, tax, and insurance payment was HOA. You can probably determine like, oh shit, payment's artificially low. You have HOA fees in there? Something like that is another way to ask for calculations.
Yes, Sue.
You guys are all talking about lenders and appraisers, and I actually had something happen to me this week. I had an appraiser that never contacted me or the buyer's agent. I have a listing and I knew that it was ordered, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And finally, I had to reach out to the buyer's agent and say, I haven't heard from the appraiser. She's got someone to give me the information, and I had to reach out to an appraiser. I have never had that happen to me before as the listing agent. Actually, as the buyer's agent either. So I called him up and he's like, oh yeah, okay, well, maybe I'll go over Sunday or Monday. I was like, okay, well, they're removing contingencies on, June 5th. They're supposed to. It was bizarre. I don't know if that's happened to anybody.
Appraiser, yes, that's happened to me before for sure. And you definitely get all types when in the appraisal world. It's a pretty independent position, especially since they created the error laws, the appraisal independence requirements, where we have to order the appraisal through an appraisal management company, and the appraisers are like independent contractors on the rosters of these management companies. And so they pick one out randomly who's familiar with the area, and then they assign it, and you just have no idea what you're getting in most cases. So,
well, the loan officer on the buy side should be able to see the inspection process. Like, is there an appointment? When is the inspection date? If I order an appraisal and a purchase, and I'm the loan officer, I do follow up to determine what's going on, and if somehow somebody isn't, if I don't see an inspection. And if I don't see something going on with an inspection and whatnot, then I'll usually call out to appraisal management company, or I'll contact the agents, both agents, go, hey, have you gotten a call yet on the inspection? If something's not lining up, but usually most AMCs, like the Rocket kind, the lenders I use and Bill use, we can usually follow up and determine the sequence of when an appraiser is assigned, when they've accepted an assignment and when they've actually made the appointment. I usually confirm that with the buyer's agent that I'm working with to see if they know anything different.
Yeah. And
But
and
the
I mean
loan officer sucks, it sounds like a little bit.
right. The loan officer should be on top of it, and the buyer's agent for that matter too. If they're dealing with they have a contingency coming up, they should be checking back with the loan officer.
That's why you should use loan officers from Link. We're on top of it. Just kidding.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. One other thing too that you can do is you can I try to touch base with all of the listing agents when I'm working with a buyer. And a part of that is so I can try to impress them and have them send me business in the future. But another part of that is that, it can keep a deal flowing better. It's just another point of contact in this, particularly for the appraisal, if there's an appraisal, to check in and see, hey, have they reached out to you yet? If not, so that's something I like to do proactively. So if you're the listing agent, you can ask if the lender is okay with you being in touch with them.
Bill, you are a different breed. Kobe and I have dealt with so many loan officers that either don't answer or give us very little confidence in the buyer. And sometimes it's the best offer on the table. We have to go with it. But I remember we've worked with you, a few times on the buy side, and you being the LO has probably gotten our offer, through to the finish line because of the way that you communicate with the listing agent. So we appreciate that. And I think that's just a big thing for any agent that's working with a buyer. Your loan officer is an extension of you. And it can go a long way, or usually does. Like if you're competing neck and neck, talking to a loan officer that gives you confidence, like that's going to be the offer you're going to want to go with. Countless times we've dealt with LOs that either just don't pick up the phone, can't confirm any of the buyer's information, can't give us any confidence whatsoever. So working with your loan officer is equally as important as, the strength of the offer itself.
Thanks.
That's all I have to say.
Craig, got anything?
Yeah, as a listing agent, just have your buyers cross ball with your
Craig said, if you're a listing agent, have your buyers cross qualified with Bill or Tim, or whoever you use, obviously. But you should be using Bill and Tim.
like a little puppet.
I'm like a little puppet. All right. Well, are we doing anything on Tuesday training today?
Let's do it.
Before we jump into Tuesday training,
Anybody have any, again, goals?
June
Anybody
18th.
set their goal for the week, hit their goal and do some shit.
June 18th. Before we get into all the training and the fun stuff, June 18th, 11 a.m. Golf, Temecula. Are you going to be around still? No. Bill will be around. We have, I think, 20 or 24 tee times booked so far. June 18th, 11 o'clock at Temecula Creek. So anybody that wants to come, we'll send a text from Krems out today to get some RSVPs on it. But yeah, we'd love to see you guys. We did it last year. It was a lot of fun. Provided the beers for everybody. And Sue's going to be there.
I hope.
That's a yes. We'd love to have all you guys. There's a hotel at this golf course as well. So if anybody
No one be drunk.
So if anybody wants to enjoy some beverages, they have the ability to stay there and they don't need to drive home after, or Uber, obviously. And we did Temecula because it's kind of like centrally located to the Canyon Lake and San Diego people. Sorry, Bill. It's not super central to you, but
No, it's okay. I'll go stay at my dad's in Encinitas.
oh,
I just had that thought. I need to go visit anyway, so it's a two birds with one stone.
does he want to sell his house?
He does not. No. I mean, he's tried a couple times and he changes his mind. You definitely don't want to be his agent because he's burned like 5 agents, listing it and then changing his mind.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, Craig was going to come sit down and he just grabbed a golf club instead. Goals.
Doing what?
Did anybody set a goal last week?
They have a schedule.
A schedule. Is anybody on actual time schedule and time management and setting a weekly goal and actually hitting it? Goals. No goals. Would it be helpful if we gave you guys workbooks and worksheets to hit your goals?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Like school?
like school.
Like SKOOL or SCHOO?
SCHOOL. Like if we were to send out on Monday, like, hey, what's your goal this week? And you let us know, and then we hold you accountable on a Friday. Text a Monday text saying what are your goals this week. You respond to it, and then we follow up on Friday and see if you guys hit it. Sunday. Okay.
So weird, yeah, plan your whole week out on Sunday.
Mine only
Only
involves
if somebody would have
pickleball.
told our agents that.
Mine only involves pickleball and golf. Anybody else have those goals?
Those are not my goals.
Getting sleep is your goal.
All right. Well, we're gonna start texting everybody on Sundays to set your goals, and we're gonna ask for your goals, and then we're gonna follow up on Friday.
Everybody using GHL and cold calls. Well, anyway.
Couple agents.
My outreach is updated, but yes.
Go TJ.
All right. Well, look out for some new goal setting and follow up. They'll be coming from GHL and from Krems.
Coach, what do you like, coach? Sue's available. Tell them what's up, right, Sue? Get them.
Do you have anything you want to talk about to the training today?
No. Yeah.
Maybe let me see.
Well, wow.
I do not know. I've learned that.
Craig's just swinging the back
Swing
away.
away.
Sue, Elisa has a listing presentation coming up. Maybe Elisa, you should come over here. I'm trying to coach her on what I think is the right way to go. I'd love to hear just kind of your thoughts if you were going on your first listing presentation.
I would first say, tell me about the people that you're going in front of.
Right. So that I'm trying to explain to her that it's all case by case. It depends who you're sitting down with, what your relationship is. So, yeah, tell us about the people.
Okay, this client is a investor. He purchases properties about 10 times a year. He almost never really sells them, but the neighbor next door just sold. This property is in Ramona. It's a pretty rural area. And the neighbor next door just sold for a good price, and that is his motive to selling it. So yeah, that's a little bit about him.
Did you call up the agent that sold it for a good price and found out how he got that good price?
I did not.
I would call up that agent and find out how he got that good price. And did anybody else come by, or was it just one offer random? Was there something about that property that maybe your property also has? Or maybe he has some backup buyers that didn't quite make it to that one. That's where I would start off.
Okay.
Just get as much knowledge as you can. I don't know Ramona well, so I would go do drive-bys first before you do it, and then understand Ramona better. If you don't know an area for any place, I would really get informed. And then.
This is the listing presentation still.
Right,
So
it's
it's not listing.
before the listing
This is
presentation.
For the listing presentation. I don't know, Craig
Well, I
might
don't
not
wanna,
do
I
all
don't wanna
that.
be calling other agents and telling them, but a couple listings property or something.
Don't tell them the problem.
Yeah, no, don't tell them the problem, but try to find out. Just say, hey, I had somebody call that lives a couple miles away. You did so good. I just was curious to know, can you tell me about how you did so good? Yeah, what is the address?
I think that's, I don't know if people can hear you, by the way, but what Sue said was very important. If you're going on a listing presentation, it's kind of like the work that you do before. It shows a lot to the seller that you're, being proactive, you're calling other agents, you're getting actually valuable information for their property. And agents love to be greased up. So you call them, you say, hey, congratulations on the listing. You did a great job, just like Sue's saying. Anytime someone calls me like that, I feel great. I'm willing to share information. I'm kind of just like basking in the sale. So usually listing agents that have closed something should be willing to give you information. You show up to a listing presentation with that, especially if it's someone that you're just meeting for the first time. And you kind of tell them, hey, I've already gotten information on the direct comp that sold next door. They had multiple offers. They only had one, whatever the case may be. It definitely helps inform the list price. It informs the strategy, everything like that. I was telling Elisa that when you go into something where I guess this one's unique. It's an investor. He knows what number he wants. You can't really compete with an investor seller. Like they are going to list at a certain price. They're going to take a certain price. They're not going to have questions necessarily about the process. It really is a drastically different situation than working with like a first time seller, like a couple or something like that. So in that case, you kind of have to, you're at the mercy of that client. And the goal in that presentation is to support his price with the right comps, but also guide him in terms of like where you should list. You want to look at days on market. You want to see if people are listing too high and it's sitting for 45 days, sitting for 60 days, you might want to list right at the price he's looking for. That all depends on the information that you're going to gather from the comps.
And then in his case, you're gonna most likely he's gonna want a 1031 exchange it. So you may want to know knowledge of what he wants to do with the money he's going to get out if he's mentioned that to you. So then you actually have, because that's what he's thinking. I'm assuming you guys are more investors, but he's thinking, oh, what am I gonna do with this money? So if I get it, where am I putting it? So you should have knowledge about that too. Hold on.
So let me ask you this. This potentially for Elisa is a client who she can work with multiple times. Like apparently he buys 8 to 10 properties a year or something like that. Would you go into this listing presentation if it appropriately came up? Would you go into it and kind of let him know that you would discount your commission on the buy side so that he could work with you? Or would you leave that completely off? Because apparently he works with just a listing agent, as most investors do. Would you try to like strategize that and get in on the buy side with him?
I would leave that for a closer. I would only bring that up if he brought it up at the end, and I would never do it on the list side. I would do it on the buy side. I would start off small, but I also would bring I would actually bring Andrew or Kobe with you to this because they have so much experience or Craig. I don't know how old this guy is, but like I would try to bring somebody who he's going to really relate to. Like I'm sure he'll relate to you because he's a referral, but having lost some deals in my life at this point, I would just probably bring a second person into a listing appointment like this.
So you want me to do extra work? Do you want to go?
No, I think it should
I'll
be
go with you if you want.
somebody of.
I'll go with you. Okay, we'll go with you. Any questions for Sue or me?
The guy's experienced, so you gotta have.
Yeah. I don't have any questions. I think this is all good information.
Question, would you guys do it on an iPad? Do you do paper?
Yeah. Kobe grew up an iPad kid. He is an iPad kid, so he brings his iPad everywhere. I like paper, or if I can, I like to just email it to them and then just talk about it. I think listing presentations for me are more just conversations. It's more building rapport. It's more just having the information in your head and talking about it. Usually email them something beforehand, but if I have to, I'll print something out. I think it's nicer. They get to, they're leaving with something tangible that they can refer to and everything like that. So usually I'd print it out, but if I don't have to, I'll keep it just digital.
One last thing. You may want to go on the internet and find out all his other properties just so you're kind of knowledgeable about him. That helps you get to know him maybe a little better.
And social media.
And social media, says Craig. I did not say that. It came from Craig. No, it's true. I totally, when I get a client, I totally stalk them on and find out all about them. Not stalk, I just do as much research as I can so I know what to say and not to say. Because sometimes I mess up on that.
All right. Well, I hope that was helpful for anyone. At least any final questions, comments?
Book club.
A book club.
Great thought. We're not even in the book club.
No, this book's awesome. This book's what's the next book?
Yeah, I just read that.
Sorry, guys. They're having a dispute right now. All right. I think we're wrapping this one up. Kobe just gave me the signal.
Thanks for trying our new live in-person Tuesday training with us. Did you guys like this, or was it chaotic, or was it fun and flowing? Do you guys prefer when we're at a table and like screen sharing? We got Vanessa said, I loved this.
It was
Michael
great,
said
Kobe.
fun. Brenda said fun.
Should get more people.
We like it.
Get a second
Sweet.
microphone.
Yeah, so I thought I got it to work with 2, and turns out I didn't. So we have 4. We just forgot the mixer in Canyon Lake. So usually we'll be able to have multiple people all talking at the same time, not need to pass a mic. So all right. Next week we're going up to Josh's office. Josh, if you guys have seen him on our meetings, he just bought a small real estate brokerage, which is interesting. It was established in 1948 in Bellflower and has 6 agents at it, and the guy wanted to retire, so he sold it to Josh, and so he's starting a new team with them, or running that brand. So next week
Is it part of Link?
yeah, it's gonna be part of Link.
Which do you know which office?
It's called Cogburn Realty in Bellflower.
The old one was
What was that, Brenda?
the one he bought?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
And his
familiar.
last name's-
That's where I grew up. So
Oh, it's right on Artesia, like on the corner of City Center. Yeah, it was there since 48. His last name's Coburn, and so he bought Cogburn. It was kind of like a fun play on. He still obviously is at Chamberlain Real Estate, but we'll be at his office, at the new office next week, doing Tuesday training there. So if anybody wants to come to Bellflower, Bill,
Yeah, I can make that work.
all right, this is gonna be a traveling Tuesday to training. I love it. Yeah.
Let me know when you go to Bali, or I'll go to Bali.
Okay. So we'll come to Bali with us. All right, sweet. Well, next week I think we'll have a little bit more. I want to show you guys some cool Link.ai stuff that we've been working on. It's not quite ready this week. That's what we were hoping to go over today, but we'll save that for next week, and we'll be with Josh live in Bellflower next week. Thank you everybody for jumping on. Book club to Thursdays, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Phone that book. Smile, 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 man.
and June 18th, 11 a.m. golf. I want to see everybody out there in golf. And that's gonna be the first attempt of me being Craig for